will call the meeting for the regular planning commission of October 3rd to order at 7 o'clock. All rise for the pledge. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ooh, that hurt too. Roll call.
Belkey? Here. Henderson here. Shaw?
Here.
Graham?
Here.
Patterson?
Here. Okay, everybody got a chance to look over the agenda? Any additions, anything to add to it? Otherwise, we're looking for a motion.
Make the motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And we're looking for a motion on the meeting minutes of September 7th.
I'll make the motion that we approve the meeting minutes for September 7th, 2022,
As presented.
as presented.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. At this time, we will open the floor for public comment, but I will remind the board that we do not engage. This is simply public comment. It is the time for people to speak their mind. We're here to listen and take into consideration what they have to say.
We will get a chance to speak on our agenda items?
It's only public comment.
It's public comment right now.
Right, but I mean, we can speak to our agenda items when they come to.
This is the only space that we have for public comment at these meetings.
Okay.
Anything? Okay, we'll move on from there. We will go to site plan 74135 Church. The working space.
Josh is here. Josh is here.
Great.
Hi.
Hi.
We all ready for this? All right, Josh, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of opening information about what you got going on?
Well, we took some of our building and made it into some usable office space. It's basically for remote workers, people who work from home, anybody who just needs a place to work. We had a lot of leftover space because our business has shrank as far as people go, so there's only me and 2 other employees in the whole building now. So we tried to think of a way to use the space, be good for the community, and stay in Armada, because we really don't need a building of that size anymore. So we figured that would be good to use their existing offices, use this space, and be able to stay in town and maybe have something to offer local people.
So you're proposing 5 offices, Josh?
Yes.
Okay.
All 5 being rental.
Well, I would follow more like the co-working guidelines where it's a membership, so everything's month to month, so there's no long-term leases, anything like that.
Anybody got anything else?
I don't have any questions.
Nope. me neither.
I'm good.
And you do know that when you do get people in these offices, they do have to come before the board?
Except, because let me interrupt. So I asked the planner that, because he's a little different than the building on Main Street,
Right.
because she was doing a year lease, it was a business that was staying.
Oh,
So the planner suggested that we phrase his approval as a flexible work office space,
Okay.
because it would be a temporary day here or a month here, that kind of.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
Perfect.
okay, that makes more sense.
So those people can come and go without us knowing who they are?
Correct, because
No
it's
approval.
pretty much all office use.
Right.
It's not gonna be any, there's gonna be no retail, there should really be no customers, there should be,
Right,
Okay.
okay, good.
Okay. Nobody has anything else? We're looking for a motion.
So something like, I make a motion to approve working space at, can't read that,
74135.
125 Church Street as a flexible workspace business?
Correct.
Mhm.
Just as a flexible workspace, yeah.
Support?
Okay.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks for coming,
Thank you.
Josh, that was easy.
That was easy.
Josh, we need you, please.
Oh,
Couple of signatures.
can you be back here?
Up
Yeah,
here.
right up here.
Oh. Sorry.
That's
We
okay.
could do that writing.
No, that's okay, you're gonna have to sign 3 times.
Okay.
Need that?
Thank you.
You are applicant. With the old man,
Okay.
that one. This one. This one. And that one.
You got them all here.
Just as an, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, so this will be your copy.
Have you been in there?
Yeah.
Just as an
Yeah,
FYI, any new business that's approved in the village, by fire code, has to be inspected by the fire marshal.
Oh, that's fine. He was just in the building too.
So, and I assume he'll be ahead of us on some things, because we only meet once a month, but I do have to let him know.
Oh, that's fine, yeah.
So he may contact you to say, that he's gotta do a
Yeah,
walkthrough,
that's
just so you
cool.
know.
No
So
problem.
each and every time you get somebody new in there?
No,
Oh,
now he's an approved business in
Okay.
that space, so.
Yeah, he just came through, so I have to put up, I think I have to switch out one exit sign because it's not lit, but besides that, everything else was up to where he wanted, so if he wants to come right through. it's
Oh,
totally fine.
and he probably will.
Yeah.
After you tell him it's done, but I will
Okay.
let him know that we approved your business.
Okay, awesome.
okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, and
Thank
you don't
you.
have to stay.
Anything in Armada is.
I don't have to stay.
Yeah, congratulations, you don't have to stay.
Well, if nobody wants to, I mean,
I'll stay for
Okay, well, that was quick and painless. Now, we are on to site plan 74081 Church, True Technologies. And we have who from the business here tonight?
Myself, David Sutton, and Rachel Sutton.
And the owner of the building, John Pepper.
Alright. Everybody's looked over all the information that they've sent in?
Yes.
Okay, I understand we have a couple of questions that we'd like to discuss tonight. Sam, you want to start us off?
well, I had a couple of questions because the information that was submitted, I had some questions regarding that. One of the requirements is a second plan drawing to show the interior layout of the building, where the machinery and that's gonna go, and I didn't see that. If you maybe wanted to talk us through how that's gonna be set up, just so that we can say we've met our requirements?
Pretty much, we're just, we really need the floor space, so open floor area is the main thing for us. All the stuff that is currently in the building is pretty much gonna stay exactly where it's at. We're just moving benches out and opening up for.
So these pieces of equipment that you had pictures of are already there?
The equipment was existing, Mike, and I did the same thing in the same vein that Josh did. I'm a 3-man band now, and I don't have the employees. David's been after me for about 2 years now to try to get in the building. I'm on the verge of, if you will, semi-retirement, but I needed to see the building productive. So I had space that I needed to utilize, and he actually got rid of, he bought my contents and got rid of probably 20 pieces of equipment. Boring mills, molding machines, lathes, grinders, I mean, it's all gone, and it's almost all floor space. David started his business in 2019 on True Road. I know Dave from school, from going to school with the kids, locally involved with the softball and whatnot in the community, but he was pushing his stuff outside and throwing it under tarps, and he's building pretty sensitive secondary assembly equipment, automotive related, but it is like industrial processing. The impact per se on the building is way less.
John, I think we need to have the owner of the business do the speaking for the business.
Well, I am the owner of the business.
No, you are the owner
He's
of the
tenant.
building. You are
Okay.
not the business owner.
All right, go ahead, David.
Basically, everything he's saying, we're really after the floor space, because I think I sent you some pictures of like white frames, that's what we build. So we use Bridgeports and surface grinders and CNC machines to make all the components that then get assembled into that. When we started off doing small stuff, people, can you make this little bracket, this little thing, and then just kind of from there, oh, yep, can you do 5 more? Yep, can you do 10? And so just kind of, can you just build the whole thing? Yeah, sure.
I saw here you're gonna be doing amps panels for the 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Yeah, that's what it's called, the amps bracket that's what they call a little plastic part. So it basically, we heat up inserts and stick them into the part. So then the next operation in the plant, they take and put a phone charger on it and screw it down so you can have your phone displayed in the vehicle.
Oh, okay.
But we take the part as it comes out of the molding machine, and then any clips and Velcro and PSA tapes, adhesives, we make sure that they're present before they get packed out and shipped and they go to the assembly line. And that's what the equipment we build does. It's basically error mistake proofing stuff.
Okay.
So that it can't get down the line and cause a stoppage during the assembly process.
And you guys are doing some work for Rivian too, I understand. I think your brother
Yep.
told me that was your brother.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of electric car companies come to us because we know what we're doing, and we're kind of like a smaller company that can do. They're smaller, right? So some of the bigger guys that build large scale assembly lines, they have a lot more overhead, and the electric car thing is 100% proven as far as the numbers production wise that they think they're gonna sell. So everybody's kind of developing their own thing.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, one of the other things was proposed signage. Because there's no, I know you gave us a picture, but there's no details in terms of what are you gonna make it out of, unless I missed it.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Size and how is it gonna, I mean, we need a little more, so we'll know, we need some sort of indication that it's gonna be approvable. That's all. So this looks nice, but it doesn't give us the information that we need.
I forget what it's a common, whatever everybody else makes their sign out of.
Like a vinyl sign?
Yeah, with just the logo printed on it. We use 3 by 5, roughly so the size of a flag.
3 by 5.
Yep.
This is 3 feet by
Yep, 3 foot by 5
by
foot wide.
5 on 2 sides.
Yep.
And it covered the 3 panels I had below my sign, machining, CNC work, and EDM work. I had 3 panels that came off the bottom of my powder mold.
Okay, so it just replaces that. Okay, good. Also, the next thing on the form was method of receiving and shipping merchandise materials, including type, size of vehicles, average number of vehicles per week, access to and exit from the site. I didn't see any answers to those questions.
So everything is, all our stuff is shipped in basically UPS, and we have some materials delivered steel, but most of it's 6-foot pieces. So as long as it's not a crazy quantity, it still comes UPS. And then we have probably the product that we ship out, usually on a curtain side, Pahoa semi-truck, usually a 26-footer. That's probably once every 3 months do we ship like a group of machines, and they're gone.
And so they're not gonna be out in the parking lot, they're not gonna be storing stuff out in the parking lot?
No. Yep, when a truck will show up, we'll pull the curtain back and we just load them, they strap them, they close it, off you go.
And the loading is usually a quick process, it's not like
Yeah.
an all-day
Will your
thing.
truck be in the parking lot or?
Yeah.
In the parking lot?
Yep.
And that's every 3 months roughly?
Right.
Most of the time, we have 12-week builds on a project, so we'll get kicked off and we might build like a left hand and a right hand of a part. So there'll be two machines, same part, one's a left, one's a right, so they'll just go together. So we kind of just build them as in series with each other, and then when they're done, ship them.
Okay, very good.
Okay. And then it says outdoor sales, display, or storage. Will there be anything like that? Nothing
There is no outside storage, so,
allowed, yeah.
correct. That's not to say if you got supplies at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and it took you till 7 o'clock to move them all in by hand, that's not considered storage. But no overnight, no all day, no.
Yeah, most of our stuff, it's gotta be inside anyways.
Okay.
The only other question I had, which was kind of a long-term thing, because it was parking. Because if and when you get up to the 17 people, then that's a parking question that we'll need to answer at that time, because the ordinance says it's 1 for every 1,000 square feet, which would be 4 spots currently, and then 1 for every employee, and your busiest shift. So if you have 17, say you have 16, so you have 8, it's 12 parking spots that you need to,
Accommodate that.
yeah.
Which you drew the picture, and it shows the parking lot, but it's not striped, it's not marked,
Okay,
it's
with
not.
the spots.
So it would have to be striped, it would have to be designated so that you know that there would be enough room for the vehicles to park as well as trucks to get in and turn around or whatever.
Right, just so we know.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are my questions.
Good question, Sam.
It's the second page.
Hold on, let me keep sticking my fingers. That's all right.
Anybody else have any further questions?
The only question I had was the signage, it just says in front of the building, exactly where in front of the building is this going to be?
Right where the existing sign is, so he's got a panoramic mold sign.
It's in the garden.
Yeah, there's a sign right there already.
Because it's saying in front of building, and I just want to make sure that's not actually physically going in front of the building.
Well, it's in front of the building, but it's 10 feet off the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Okay.
All he did was add
Just
a
add-
plaque to the bottom of the sign that's existing.
It's like at the
Okay.
south lot line.
So
Yep, just east of the flag.
this is going to replace this.
Well, the
Yeah.
the True Technologies is sitting right below it, right
It's-
there.
They're adding to the bottom.
This
Sign is existing,
this
Oh,
part,
yeah.
and they're adding this.
Right.
Patrick Mold
Okay.
Right
Stone
across the
Building.
bottom
I grabbed
of
the
the
wrong-
existing sign.
Yeah.
Well, hard copy.
Right.
But
it's not gonna replace the top
No.
piece, it's just gonna be
Added
added to
to
the
it,
bottom,
right.
to the
Okay.
bottom.
Right.
Because Patrick Mold is still in the front building,
mhm.
and he would be in the back building.
Well, actually, we're still in the same building.
Oh, you're still.
I'm in both buildings. So yeah, my molding operation, the Patrick Mold, still operates in 081 building.
Okay. Just for history, for those that weren't here, there is a special approval land use for 74081 that passes with the land that does allow the light industrial in the C.
It does.
It does,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
So now if John's still operating in the building, when they do parking, they have to allow for his employees as
So
well.
that's a lot for all employees, correct?
Yes, we're operating underneath the special approval land use.
I
granted to the
understand
building.
that, John,
Yeah, she was just talking about it, your employees would have to be included too.
in the parking
Right, we're operating
areas, so
well
if you
within.
have 17 in one business, they would have to add your amount of employees to that as well.
Correct.
We understand that.
So that 4,000 square feet then is shared by both of you? or
That's
you-
5,000 square feet.
So it's
the building.
5,000, so it'd be
Yeah.
5 employees plus 1 for every person in the biggest shift, right?
If we could find 17 skilled tradesmen right now, we'd be lucky.
Yeah, if we had enough,
You know, which is
keep
really-
17 people busy.
This is all about why I'm here. You know, I'm not building molds anymore, I don't have 10 people on a crew. David's working out of a barn, he started home business, he needs a place to go, he's got 4 kids in school,
It's good fit.
he's the guy I picked.
Anybody with anything else?
I don't have anything.
No, I don't have anything.
I have a question. When you have more than one business in a building, does each business have to have its own dumpsters and provisions
No.
for that? Okay.
So the parking requirement would be 5 plus. You said you had 3 people?
Yeah.
Currently, and John has 3.
And he's 3.
There's 8 total now,
There's 8 total people?
with 2 of his guys that come in to do electronic work on computers, but they're subcontractors, they're not employees.
So
They come in to work on the software.
So as it stands right now, you need 13 parking spaces then? So
8.
You need 5 for, because there's 5,000 square feet, there's 1 for every 1,000 square feet, that's 5. And then you said you had 8 employees, you had 8 people there, so that's 1 for each person,
I'm losing.
and 8, and, is that correct? And then 8.
One for each
5,
person, so you're
13.
saying 8 people,
8 people.
plus one
One.
space for every 1,000 square
Or
foot.
1,000 square foot.
So
You
13.
have 3 employees? Okay. Dylan
Your
and
parking lot is
Cory.
fine, it's just not, the dimensions aren't there and it's not marked, but your parking lot.
So you may
is.
have them, we just
Yeah,
don't
there's more
know.
than-
is what
I
I'm
just
saying.
need to see the spots.
Yeah.
Lines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the parking requirement there, and we don't know if you've met the requirement because it's not marked.
So truly, all you need to do is measure the parking lot,
Yeah.
you know, give us the dimensions so that we can see that you can fit 13 spots.
all right. Easy enough.
You can turn that into you.
Correct.
Should we make a motion?
Yes.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the site plan 74081 Church, True Technologies,
I'll second.
as presented.
What about the parking? Should we say something about the
Yes.
parking?
Yes, it needs to be handed into her.
Okay, and the parking measurements need,
Right.
the parking measurements needed to be,
Just drop it off at the office.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
You all good?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
aye,
Aye.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
That would be me.
Kevin.
Kevin did.
Any opposed? Motion
Congratulations.
carries.
Congratulations, thank you for coming to Armada.
Your signature's
All the
done.
best to you. Hope you do well.
Oh, yeah, time to go back and work it.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Josh.
Good evening.
Have a good rest of your night.
Thanks, you too.
And the same will be true for you, I know the fire marshal's already come through once.
Yep.
I talked to him, but, again, I have to let him know that, you know, we approved you, so you may come through a second time.
Okay. No
Okay, but we will, so this is your copy, to keep, just in case any questions it, take this drawing that you did for me. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, no, large discuss, we're good. So just take this drawing that you gave me, if you don't have, you have, well, you have a copy of it now, all right? Just write the measurements of your, I mean, I know you're here, but draw on there, I think, what's the standard?
13,
Standard.
make sure it has the 13 spaces.
Yes.
Yes.
That's all.
I think the standard is,
20 foot, the
I
line.
think,
I
yeah.
think that's
So
what we
just
said
even
when we
if you
did the
mark
vote.
down there on the drawing, every 20 feet, make sure.
I'll get it to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
You're
guys.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Armada.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Well, that was smoother than expected.
Thank you.
Yep.
Take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move into zoning ordinance reviews. We have sections 9 and 10 back from the planner. Did anybody get a chance to look over those?
10, we had no corrections, so.
Right. There was a couple of things though that he said we wanted to look at. known in that email.
In section 9.
Yes.
Yes, there are, section 9, we did.
Well, there were some of the things from the chart that didn't get updated, plus I'm looking at it now.
That's what I'm trying to find that email where he actually explains, or, yes, it was Brian going over this one, and the girl was going over the site plan.
I'll be the first to admit, I did not look at these and compare, so.
I haven't gone
It
over
was really
them
hard because she
strictly.
moved the order.
Well, what she was trying to do, what I had said in my email is that it didn't match the list in section 4.
Right,
Mhm.
there it is.
So I think. that
She
she
says
was
something
what
about
she
the
was-
order in her email.
She put it in alphabetical order, she said, but
Right,
I went through the best I could, right, and some of the ones where we wanted, for accessory apartments, where we wanted to up it from 1.5 to 2, I didn't see that being done.
I'm gonna look at this, Al, we're doing the boring meat. These are all the pictures you sent over there.
so it was about 150 square
I don't know if you're familiar with any of
This is
that
what we
stuff
might
or not,
change.
but there's a bunch of.
Yeah, I've seen,
Okay.
That's-
what do they
could be
call it?
something
I
different.
forget
We
what
can't
these
do
call these, those
anything.
portable ones.
From right.
I've seen
so
them,
it's
a couple of
actually
them.
right, okay.
Yeah.
Never, personally, I always remember huge.
Personally,
But
my
they take
my
this whole-
suggestion
Yeah.
would be, because
I
obviously
think it might
it's
be a
not
little
looked at,
interesting.
is
Yeah.
we could you just got back to, I don't know, and we can either go over it part by part right now, or, just wait and do it all next time. Have somebody have time to,
I see the
We can do
table.
that.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
do what
yeah.
we want,
it's called postpone.
Right,
postpone it.
yeah.
Accessory apartment,
Yeah, it's 9.
adult foster care.
9, well, she sent us 9 and 10.
And
Well,
10,
there was no 10, we
correction.
didn't
Well,
have
right,
any
there's
corrections.
no, right. But that's our agenda.
Right,
is sections 9 and 10.
right.
So we will take sections 9 and 10 and table them till the next meeting, when we've all got a chance to go over them a little more intensely.
She actually did kind of go,
She's got quite a bit.
I
I looked at some of it, but I haven't looked at the entire thing.
It did, I got most of the way through it, and then I wondered if I was getting confused, because it didn't look like a lot of it had been, done, some of them didn't have.
in the conversation I had with her,
Uh-huh.
she was gonna try and do it most like other communities had it grouped, but along like we asked to follow what our chart was. So
Well, yeah.
that might be where it's not quite in exactly the same order, because she might have grouped a few things together. So, I don't know, personally, I think if it's a like requirement, I don't know why they can't all be listed together, but that's a me thing. That's a me saving trees thing, you know,
I'm gonna bring that up, I'm glad you said that.
so
It's confusing.
I just think we need more time to review.
Yeah, I think
I will
so.
be the
So we
first
will-
to say
we will move
that
this
I
one
did not.
To the next meeting, and we'll go over those there. That way we've all got a chance to look at them a little bit better. Do we want to discuss 11 and 12? Do we have anything we want to talk about on those?
I have a question on Article 11. I didn't see anything there, but my understanding was the village policy is if a builder removes a tree in the village or anyone else, that it has to be replaced. Is that not correct? I don't think there's anything in here. I didn't see anything. in there.
I do not recall ever reading it.
No?
No.
So why
In
is
the
it-
25 times I've read this ordinance, I do not ever recall
See, I don't,
reading
I
that
haven't
being
seen
a
it in there,
requirement.
but I thought that that
Yeah,
was...
I remember calling Fritz when he cut down a tree that was 150 years old. A big, huge, beautiful oak, and he cut it down. And the village did nothing about it. They didn't replace the tree. They didn't make Fritz. I thought that Fritz had to replace anything that was removed.
You're right, I
That was
didn't
my
see that in
understanding.
this either, but that was always my understanding of it as well.
Can we add that in there, Pat?
Can we add something, well, I don't know. So if you have, it's just a question, devil's advocate, if you have an acre lot that you take 100 trees down and you put, just throwing numbers, because I have no idea dimensions, 10 homes in there, you don't have room for 100 trees anymore. So you have to have some,
Can't be one
Buffer.
for one.
can't be one for one, it's gotta
Right.
be,
I see what you're saying.
you know, it could be that every lot has to have a tree,
Mhm.
or per every square footage, whatever.
Right.
You know, that way, which I guess I could ask the planner how other communities do
Yeah, ask
it.
him for verbiage.
You know,
and see what he
because,
says.
I mean, I know like Sterling Heights, you take down a tree, you have to plant another one, so, but I don't know what a new builder, what a new builder would have to do,
Mhm.
so. I
Okay, so
can,
you
I
ask
can
the
ask
planner,
him.
and I think that's really an important thing that we should consider putting in.
I
there.
agree, because I was right with you, I
Mhm.
thought it was one for one.
Placement of trees. Because quite honestly, I've read these ordinances 100 times and I cannot
Well,
honestly
yeah, I
say.
just perused through and I didn't see anything.
Mhm.
So-
I've ever seen that.
Just flat out removing a tree or removing a tree for a reason?
What would obviously be for a reason.
Yeah, for a reason, usually
Dead or
diseased in development, or yeah, or dead or
It's
diseased.
in the way, it's
Right.
usually.
Because actually it's under 11-7 here, subsection D.
1107?
Page 11, I'm sorry, section 11.09
Maintenance,
D.
all building plants should be removed and replaced with the same number, size, and species of materials within 30 days. Of written notice from the village. So there is something in there.
But for disease, dead or disease?
Yeah.
Right, not for
That-
Not
just,
for
That's why I was
Not for
wondering if there was a
development.
particular reason why they were removed in the first place.
Right.
We're
Well-
talking like in a development.
Yeah, like
Okay.
when Fritz developed phase 3, which is where I'm in, and I'm
So
a
I
tree
guess-
lover, and
Yes.
he started just cutting down trees, I was not happy.
No, I just want to make sure I understand the rationale why they were removed in the first place, so.
so I
Yeah.
guess to
So
my
that was,
question,
it's
we
because of
either,
development, that's why they removed that tree that was 150 years old. They were talking about putting that 2 lots, and the next day they cut it down.
Yeah, because for that, there's nothing in here on that.
but each site would have to have a landscaping plan, I guess at that time we could address that, you know, we don't like you did this.
Well, like what's
Well,
coming up,
and
if Fritz does develop that last side of property there, we would want to definitely have some trees cleared, because he cleared them all out, he cleared the whole,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah, I don't like that idea. Clear them all out.
no. No, there should be some kind of clause in there that they have to put at least 1 tree on per each site or something, or for, I don't know if they want to put per square, for how much square footage.
But
But
now,
like Becky said, she can ask the planner
right,
and see what he says.
but now isn't that kind of along the, you're talking about property that they've already removed the tree, so it's just, it's gone. We
It's a
can't
dead
discuss it,
horse,
we
yeah,
cut that
it's
out.
a dead horse, right?
But if you were to actually build on that property, it is in our right to go through it and do.
And require it in
Right.
his plan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, require that, yeah, that he would
Yeah,
have to plant trees.
that's here. And that they would have to have all that in their site plan. So, yeah,
Okay.
we'll definitely make sure to hit it with some trees.
Be nice,
Absolutely.
especially today.
All right.
Okay.
I will say in my 13 years here that nobody's ever been told to replace the tree that they take down.
You know why
13 years here.
where it did happen was at the village, the convalescent home for, back where Fair Acres was, and then it became of the villages. And those guys, when they built new, they ended up putting trees in there. Quite a few trees,
It was
actually.
part of their site plan.
Yeah,
But quite honestly, a big thing like that, a big complex like that, one, it's aesthetically pleasing,
mhm,
not just for us, but for them.
right,
But it also does help with your yards aren't, your property isn't eroding, degrading. and,
Right.
you know,
It's
it
a
helps.
sound barrier.
sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
so.
Okay, so
That's all I have.
for 11, Sam?
I didn't have anything.
I did not either.
Was there anything from previous discussion?
And
I just got a few little comments that we wrote down here and there that really, I don't know what we were looking at back then, it just doesn't, most of them don't really seem to make much sense, but on, let's see, 11:4, under F, masonry wall, it says, where required, a masonry wall shall be solid and decorative in nature, and at least 2 feet and no more than 6 feet in height above grade. Such walls shall be caped and constructed of masonry materials and complement the primary building materials.
This is for screening and buffering.
F, masonry wall,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's,
F.
we had put down that it doesn't really tell you where masonry walls, because,
Where required.
right, where they would actually want to put a masonry wall at.
Where required. So are you saying that it's, what's the word, vague, too vague of a,
That's what we had mentioned in the first go over on the book, but like I said, a lot of these, when you go back through it, some of that stuff is just really, I think we were a little too particular on what we were pinpointing.
I said nothing on 11 or 12.
Yeah, I don't either, I do really nothing in 11.
in 12, if we're done with 11.
Yep.
The facade arrangement and design, like when Puckers changed their sign and, you know, changed the front of the building a little bit, did they have to propose that?
They, the
Or-
building inspector.
Oh, okay, okay,
The building inspector had to approve that.
okay.
Now, is there a time that they would have to come before us for signage? I mean, not that particular, a business, is there a time, no?
No, if it's part of their site plan, it can be approved and it saves them a step with the building department. But if it isn't part of their site plan or they change it at any point, then it becomes a building department issue that has to abide by our rules.
Okay, I see.
So is this where we would, if we were so inclined, add something about preserving the historic nature?
Existing buildings,
Yeah, Jim,
1205.
facade, arrangement and design,
Building design and composition.
Brick and stone
Existing
facades should not be covered
Well,
with artificial.
And I guess my biggest question to doing that would be, who determines which houses or which buildings or whatever would have to?
Would what?
Would have to. I mean, we don't have a historical designation, we don't have a,
Right.
Well, this says here, Beck, B, facade preservation, brick and stone facades should not be covered with artificial siding or panels. Generally, no material will look more appropriate on a facade than the one originally used, so to me, that tells me that.
Yeah, and
doesn't say that
also
they can't.
D and E, they all kind of go to the same thing. Original details should not be destroyed or covered. Vertical lines
Well, it kind of does say they can, I think.
should be.
That they can't? No, it doesn't say they can't, it says should. It
Says
has to say
shall.
shall.
Okay, we're going to put that in there.
You're asking the wrong person.
Well,
My
Sam, since
my
you brought-
answer is no.
Sam, since you brought it up, you think that would be?
Well, I don't know, that's one of the things that is most charming about Armada,
Yes,
are the
I
old
agree,
buildings, you know, the few that we have left.
I agree.
Is there?
Like what you guys did to the building.
Pardon?
Like what you guys did to your building.
No, that's because my husband's, OCD, but, not everybody, so that's the long, hard way.
Right.
I don't know if, does it open you up to certain considerations then for historic preservation that we don't want to get into? Does it?
That's kind of where I was going. There's a process to all of that.
Does it make it a lot harder for people to maintain their buildings because now they have X amount more, hoops they have to jump through? Blah, blah. I don't, as an old building owner, I don't particularly want more hoops.
Right.
Well,
But
and the other, my point is, and I made this point back when we first talked about it, if I own it, it's kind of annoying for you to tell me what I can do with it. So, and I'm not the only person.
Well, but limitations
Yeah,
need
there
to
have
be
to be
set
limitations,
because
right.
otherwise you end up with
But
buildings
what
that
did
are
you-
not pleasing.
That's
But,
right.
but
in
again,
downtown.
okay, not pleasing to you doesn't mean they're not pleasing to somebody. And I'll use a bright blue
Not too many
building.
that thought it was.
I'll point right at the bright blue building that's down there. It first went up, I had 3 people, oh my gosh, what color are they doing, why are they doing that? And in the next 2 days, I had 20 people tell me how great it looked.
The blue one
So-
wasn't really the
It doesn't really matter, that's not my point. The point is, whose taste is gonna determine your standards?
Well, that's the only thing I'm thinking. I agree with Sam 100%, I really do. But at the same time, you're looking at trying to get new business into empty buildings. If-
I'm not advocating one way or another, I'm just bringing up the question. Is it
No,
something-
I know you're not, but I do agree with that decision, but at the same time, not everyone's gonna be able to do a building.
Because I was
Like that.
looking at online, there's a National Historic Preservation Office, and if you are a National Historic Recognized Community, whatever that entails, then there's certain money that you
You
can
can
apply
get,
for
right,
to help you maintain your,
Right.
national.
Right,
that's what Romeo does.
yeah.
Yeah, so,
Romeo's very strict on their
right.
guidelines.
We don't have our hand out for any of that money because we haven't passed the
Right.
rules that we need in order to qualify,
Right.
is all. So, is that worth it for us? Do we want to consider that? Is that something we should ask more people about? I mean, what do we do with that?
It might be worth looking into, what exactly we would have to do, what it would entail. to
I don't
set
think
up
it's a
like
bad
that.
idea.
We-
Check.
Yeah, at least check and see.
I can do
Maybe we
that.
could look at Romeo's regulations.
Well, and
and
I truly think that you should all talk to your friends and neighbors
see.
to get their opinions.
What's your opinion, Al?
And ask,
The historic, how historical it should look.
Yeah,
and ask their opinion too, how they would feel if they were the owner of the building. Not just as a resident that drives by or uses that business, but if you own the building, what would your thoughts be,
right.
kind of thing. So, because you gotta get it both ways. I get there's only, 10 or 12 people that own the buildings down there, but again, we don't want them selling the building and having vacant a building, or,
Right, right.
we don't,
They're not all the same, well, I'm thinking, yes, they are, kind of they are. I was thinking of the Tigers down over there where it's mostly a glass front, that doesn't have the same age look
No,
that the
it
buildings
doesn't.
on the other
Right,
side. So
right.
that strikes me as more of a, mid-last century kind of look.
Right,
than-
50s or 60s.
Yeah, than the 1800s or
Right.
early 1900s, so. I don't
It
think it's
does
an
have,
idea to-
in section 12.5, there is a section for preservation of architectural elements, where it states that original details on a building should not be destroyed or covered during facade renovations.
Yeah.
So, there is a little bit of protection, but to actually tell every single
Spandrels,
owner.
quantities, and other primary structural elements should be maintained wherever possible.
okay, but who defines wherever possible?
I know.
And is it financially possible,
That's more
or
what I'm
or
thinking.
material, are the materials available?
Right.
Or are they available at a reasonable cost that makes the cost prohibitive?
Right.
Or, those are the kinds of things that, especially right now, you try and find some stuff
Yeah.
to go,
Well, you can't even, I can't find someone to fix my tin. I
Yeah.
can't, there
Right.
isn't a worker person that.
There's no tin knockers?
Yeah.
Well, and usually when you have stuff like that, you give them a specific time frame. That this is how we want to see things done in this order, in this time frame. There's no way you could give somebody a time frame now.
No,
There's people that are waiting over a year for
Right.
materials.
the way labor is today,
Yeah.
materials and labor.
Mhm.
You can't even find anybody to come to your house, let alone.
So, but yeah, if you want to look into that, Sam, we can
I'll
always
just look up
discuss it.
that
Oh,
one
Sam.
there.
Mhm.
well, and I'll ask the planner about that too. What,
Maybe
where-
this is enough to just,
does that, or does he have any idea what it truly would take for us? how many places, cause, you know, I mean, they're out in Northville, so there's a whole bunch of other
All our
small.
planners in Northville?
Yes,
Okay.
so, you know, and they do a lot of communities.
Right.
So what's some of the communities you do, or how hard is it
Yeah,
to
they
enforce?
regret making that decision.
Right.
I'll ask when
Okay.
I'll ask the planner, I'll ask
Okay.
Brian, I won't ask Alicia, I'll ask Brian.
Is he a lawyer?
Is he a lawyer? No.
Okay.
He
I was
speaks
curious.
like one, doesn't he?
I was curious.
Although he gives me a direct answer, the lawyer does not.
Right.
Yeah, in layman's terms.
Okay, anybody got anything else in 12?
I don't.
I see Kevin, you've been pretty quiet tonight.
Yeah, right now I'm trying to assimilate a lot of information, so
Okay.
this
All right.
this didn't help out much.
Okay, so for next
So we're gonna go over 9 and, I guess we basically already gone over 10, so. We will go over 9 and 13's a kind of long one.
I was gonna say, the sign one should really be all by itself.
Yeah,
because
I think
it's
so
going to
too.
be very much in depth.
I remember that
Okay.
from last time, it was quite an ordeal, so just 13.
Section 13 alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're gonna be hearing a lot from who?
You're just gonna, there was, it's very in-depth, it's,
Oh,
and,
oh,
there's a section of it that causes a lot of issues.
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
Okay, so that took care of zoning ordinance reviews, we're on reports. So the only thing I have tonight is to let you guys know that the bond payment was paid for $29,548.75. That has been taken care of. Does anybody have anything else they wanna?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
After the little meeting with Fritz, I did talk to the planner about density and lot sizes.
Okay.
In my pile, here somewhere, is, his recommendation is to not change it. He said,
Not change.
not change where we already did that, section, because we already did the section where we talked about dimensional standards. So that's
Okay.
where your density would be.
Okay.
You'd make smaller lots, so you could have denser, developments.
Yeah.
So you guys were at that meeting, and that was one of the things that was discussed, is should we change our density? Back when these were originally done, everybody wanted more wide open spaces, wide open houses, and would changing the density be an option to get a development back there? Now, the original proposed development 4 years ago, the lots would have been 40 feet wide.
Right.
That's a drastic change. Our current one's 70 feet. So I did ask the planner what the going density is, and neighboring communities, but he picked some small, some big, range from, believe it or not, 60 to 85 still. He said 70 is still the predominant one, the most widely used one, but nothing we could do would make that old development work
Right.
without changing our density to allow 40-foot wide lots and everywhere in the
I
village.
think he's first pretty much scrapped that.
Well, okay, but still, that was the whole purpose of us looking at it.
Right.
But even to go to a condo, I'm just saying, that would be a drastic change.
Mm-hmm.
He would not go below 65, but he is recommending we don't change it at all. So.
So then he couldn't put condos or duplexes.
I'm
in?
not saying he can't do the duplexes, it depends on what he brings to us and the size and that kind of stuff. Not his plan that he had already brought.
Right. And
That,
I think he's on board with that.
which is fine, but I'm just, that was something you guys asked me to do, so
Okay.
I did ask. And he is not suggesting we change it, but if we do, his only suggestion is 5 feet. So even a planned unit development only allows for 10% variance from what your normal standards are for whatever your district is, whatever your zone is.
Mhm.
So that's still 65, 10% is 6.5 feet, so that's still, the lots would have to be 58.5 feet, is that what, yeah, 58.5.
Something like that,
So, again, it gives a little more room if we were to change it, and we're not done with these yet, so that's not saying we can't go back.
Mhm.
But he did get back to me.
Okay.
So his recommendation is that the going trend is still the 70-foot lots. Some have gone up to 80,
Okay,
so.
all right.
So just out of curiosity, how deep are these lots they're talking about?
They, again, those were from 4 years ago, and like Mike said, he's pretty much scrapped that idea because he originally wanted to put 32 detached condos.
Oh,
Yeah. in there.
So it just,
I
they
thought you were
would
going
have
to say
been,
32 feet. I'm like,
yeah,
No.
no, 32 total,
You know what parcel we're talking about?
yeah.
Over
So,
by DPW?
mhm.
they were all different depths, some were pie-shaped. Most of them range from 30, I think 38 to 45 feet wide, but the dimensions all changed based on,
Right.
depending on where they were
Right.
Mhm.
for the depth. So they weren't large, which I get, most condos they aren't. It's just that our ordinance wouldn't allow that many, where he could have dropped a few condos and we could have fit them in, but he didn't want to drop any buildings. So
Right, you didn't want to budge.
in that meeting, he had a few other ideas, and he's gone for a couple months, so it won't be until later that he'll,
Right.
drop off a drawing to say,
Right.
do any of these ideas kind of work? Can we, and at that time, then I'll, let you guys all look at them and say yes, no, maybe so.
Because on the flip side of the equation, the thing that I would be concerned about is having it where they kind of jam-packed in like Hamtramck.
Correct.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
You would
that's
say reach
something-
out your window and touch your neighbor?
Yeah, pretty
Pass
much.
toilet paper,
Yeah.
salt and pepper.
Yeah.
I know we're
Well,
watching-
which is why the density is what, that's why we have, and we have the 6-foot setbacks on either, either side.
Right,
So the closest any building could be currently is 12 feet,
Mhm.
but if your lot's only, 40 feet wide, and you got 6 feet on each side, you're putting in a pretty skinny little house there,
Right.
Mhm.
So, it was just that it was something I was asked to look at, and he got back to me.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
So-
appreciate it. All right, so anybody got anything else for reports?
Nope.
Okay, then our next meeting is November 7th, and like I said, we will go over 13 alone, and we will look at 9 again. And we need a motion.
I'll make a motion that the meeting be adjourned at 8:53.
I'm sorry?
8:53, what is it?
7:52.
Or 7:50, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the.
So 53 is
Sorry.
right there. All right,
Sorry, guys.
second,
Second?
Second.
Oh.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Done.